The first level of income doesn't begin with money, it begins with you. Before you earn a single dollar, you must earn the mindset that attracts it. Most people are trying to change their paycheck without ever changing themselves. But the truth is, income is not the product of work. It's the result of value. If you want to make more, you must become more. Your income will never exceed your level of personal growth. Think of it this way, you don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to that hour. A janitor and a CEO both get the same 60 minutes. The difference lies in what they've done with their minds, their skills, and their discipline over years. The first level of success, therefore, is the personal income level, where you start by improving yourself so much that the world can't ignore your worth. You read the books others won't. You practice when others rest. You show up when others make excuses. That's the level where you learn to create value with your hands, your voice, your ideas. It's where you move from surviving to contributing. And once you master the discipline of this level, once you realize that the market pays for value, not time, the doors to the next levels begin to open automatically. The second level of income is not about working harder. It's about working smarter. You can only work so many hours a day, but your ideas can work 24 hours a day, even while you sleep. This is where you learn to separate your labor from your leverage. At this level, your goal is to multiply your effort to make your skills, your systems, and your network work for you. Maybe you write a book once and sell it forever. Maybe you build a business that keeps running even when you take a vacation. Maybe you invest in assets that grow whether or not you're watching them. The key here is leverage. Using your mind, your resources, and your time strategically. Most people get stuck because they only know how to trade hours for dollars. But the wealthy, the successful, the truly free, they've learned to trade ideas for income, influence for opportunity, and leadership for loyalty. This is the level where your value begins to expand beyond your physical presence. You start earning not just from what you do, but from what you've built. You realize that wealth isn't created by effort alone, it's created by systems that multiply effort. And the beautiful thing is, once you experience the power of leverage, you never want to go back. The third level of income is what Jim Rohn called the philosophical level of wealth. It's where your income no longer comes just from what you earn or own. It flows from who you've become. At this level, money is simply a reflection of your impact. You're not chasing success anymore, you're attracting it. You've built character, habits, and relationships that turn opportunity into abundance. You understand that true wealth isn't just financial. It's emotional, spiritual, and social. You're wealthy because you have freedom, the freedom to live your purpose, to give, to inspire, to leave a legacy. You've gone from earning to investing, from consuming to contributing, from wanting more to becoming more. And when you reach this level, you realize something profound. Success is never about the money. It's about the person you become in pursuit of it. The money is simply the applause for the value you've added to the world. The first level of income doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your mind. Before you can ever change what's in your bank account, you must change what's in your belief system. The foundation of all financial success begins with the person you become. People often chase the money, but they forget that money is simply a mirror reflecting the value you bring to the marketplace. The marketplace doesn't pay for your time, it pays for your value. The hour is the same for everyone. What makes the difference is what you bring into that hour. Think about it, two people can work side by side, clock the same hours, and yet one earns 10 times more. Why? Because one has developed skills, discipline, and mindset that the other hasn't. That's the secret of the first level of income, developing yourself until the world can't help but notice. The truth is, you can't get rich by demand. You get rich by growth. You can't just wish for a higher income. You must become a person who deserves it. If you want to make more, you've got to become more. That's a Jim Rohn truth that changes lives when understood deeply. So the question becomes not, how can I earn more? But how can I increase my value? And that begins with learning new skills, improving old ones, studying human behavior, understanding your industry, and mastering your emotions. Most people want to raise without raising their level of competence. But the world doesn't work that way. You don't get paid for what you know. You get paid for what you do with what you know. At this level, every small act of self-improvement matters. Every book you read, every podcast you listen to, every early morning you dedicate to growth, it all compounds. You start to realize that your mind is the most valuable real estate you'll ever own. You invest in it the same way a builder invests in the land before constructing a skyscraper. Because if the foundation is weak, the structure won't stand. You can't build a fortune on a fragile mindset. You must strengthen it daily through discipline, curiosity, and consistency. Jim Rohn used to say, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Why? Because if you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. That's the difference between those who survive and those who thrive. The first level of income demands that you stop looking for shortcuts and start investing in long-term growth. You begin to understand that your job is not your final destination. It's your training ground. Every task, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to practice excellence. You learn to show up early, stay focused, add value, and treat every role as preparation for something greater. At this level, the biggest shift happens internally. You stop blaming the economy, the government, your boss, or your background. You realize that none of those things determine your income. Your habits do. The person you become each day determines the paycheck you attract. If you cultivate laziness, excuses, and doubt, you'll attract scarcity. But if you cultivate vision, discipline, and courage, you'll attract abundance. Success always begins as an inside job. This stage is where most people struggle because it's uncomfortable. Growth always is. You'll have to read when you feel tired, wake up earlier when you feel lazy, and practice skills that don't immediately pay off. But remember, discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons. Every moment you invest in yourself is planting seeds that will bloom in the seasons ahead. And when the harvest comes, it'll feel like luck to others. But you'll know it was discipline disguised as luck. This first level is also where you begin to change your circle. You start surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, not those who comfort your limitations. You find mentors, read biographies of great thinkers, and spend time with dreamers who are doing, not just talking. Because environment shapes energy, and energy shapes effort. You cannot rise if you're surrounded by those who are content with average. The first level of income is about shedding that average mentality. You stop saying, it's not my job, and start saying, how can I add value here? You stop waiting for motivation and start creating it through action. It's also about learning patience. Many people quit before the growth shows. They plant seeds and expect fruit overnight. But personal development doesn't work that way. It's like planting a bamboo seed. It stays underground for years, invisible, while its roots grow deep. And then suddenly, it shoots up feet in just a few weeks. The same is true for your value. You may not see the results at first, but the roots are forming. Keep working on yourself, and soon your growth will be impossible to ignore. At this level, you start to see opportunities that others miss. You become more confident, more resourceful, more capable. And with that comes an increase in income, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Money naturally flows to those who create solutions, who add worth, who bring excellence to the table. You stop asking for chances and start creating them. You stop hoping for success and start becoming the kind of person success looks for. That's the magic of this first level. It's not glamorous, it's not immediate, but it's foundational. Every fortune, every empire, every legacy begins here with a decision to grow beyond who you are today. Because once you master this level, once you become a person of increasing value, the world has no choice but to reward you. It always starts with you. Your mindset, your discipline, your hunger to improve. The more you grow, the more you'll earn, not just in money, but in purpose, confidence, and fulfillment. And that's where the journey to true success begins. The second level of income is where everything begins to shift. It's where you stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like a builder. It's the moment you realize that if you only trade time for money, you'll always be limited. There are only 24 hours in a day, and no matter how talented, driven, or hardworking you are, that number never changes. You can't add more hours, but you can add more value. You can add systems, ideas, tools, and people who multiply your effort. That's the essence of this second level. Leverage. It's where you learn that success is not just about effort. It's about expansion. Most people spend their lives in the trap of labor income. They believe that the only way to earn more is to work more, and so they grind harder, stretch longer, and sacrifice their time for a few extra dollars. But the truly successful learn that there's a smarter way. They realize that their energy should go into building systems that work even when they don't. They begin to move from the world of physical effort to the world of strategic effort. You can only dig so many holes with your hands, but if you build a machine, you can dig thousands. That's leverage, the ability to multiply results without multiplying exhaustion. At this level, you start to think differently. You ask better questions. How can I make this process work without me? What can I create once that continues to serve for years? Who can I train to do what I do so I can move on to higher levels of vision? You begin to understand that wealth isn't just made by working. It's made by designing work that continues to produce. The book you write once can sell forever. The online course you create can help thousands while you sleep. The business you build can generate income whether you're at the desk or on the beach. That's the shift from effort to enterprise. Leverage comes in many forms. It could be financial, using money to make more money through investments. It could be technological, automating systems that once took you hours. It could be human, training and trusting people who can expand your reach. But whatever form it takes, it comes from one mindset refusing to be the only engine that drives your success. You start to see your energy as a valuable, limited resource. You stop wasting it on tasks that don't grow you or scale you. You start building assets, not just activities. Jim Rohn said, "You can't hire someone else to do your push-ups for you." And he was right. The push-ups are the work of self-development, but you can hire someone else to handle what doesn't require your genius. You can delegate, automate, and elevate. This is the level where leadership begins to emerge. You realize that great leaders don't do everything. They empower others to do great things. That's how your impact grows beyond your personal capacity. You become the architect, not just the laborer. At this stage, you learn one of life's most powerful lessons. Money is a byproduct of systems that serve others efficiently. The more people your idea or service can reach without your constant presence, the greater your potential income. Think about the difference between a musician playing live and one who records an album. The first earns when they perform, the second earns even while they rest. That's leverage. It's not about being lazy. It's about being wise. It's about turning your creativity into continuity. The second level also teaches you to respect your time in a way you never did before. You begin to measure your days not by how long you worked, but by how much progress you made toward freedom. You start building pipelines instead of carrying buckets. You stop chasing paychecks and start constructing systems. You realize that real wealth is not about how much you earn this month. It's about how much keeps coming in even when you pause. But to reach this level, you have to unlearn the habits of scarcity. Most people cling to control because they fear losing money or making mistakes. They say, "I'll do it myself," because they don't trust the process. Yet that fear becomes the very cage that traps them. True success requires trust. Trust in your vision, in your team, and in the systems you build. You can't scale fear. You can only scale confidence and clarity. That's why at this level, personal growth is still essential. You must grow as a thinker to grow as a builder. This is also where discipline takes on a new form. At the first level, discipline meant showing up every day. At this level, discipline means letting go of tasks that no longer serve your highest value. It's the discipline to say no to distraction, no to micromanagement, no to business disguised as productivity. You learn to focus on the vital few things that create the most leverage. You invest your hours in strategy, creativity, and relationships, the things that multiply themselves. As you master this level, something powerful happens. You start to experience freedom. Not the freedom to do nothing, but the freedom to choose what matters. You can spend more time innovating, mentoring, dreaming. Your days are no longer consumed by routine. They're designed around purpose. You've moved from trading time to creating value that transcends time. And that's when your life begins to expand in ways you never imagined. When you reach this stage, money becomes less of a pursuit and more of a consequence. You realize that income now flows from impact. That the bigger the problem you solve, the bigger the reward. You're not working harder, but your results are bigger because you've built something that outlives your daily effort. This is where true wealth begins to take root. You've built systems, teams, and ideas that multiply in your absence. You've learned the art of leverage, the art of multiplying your time, talent, and vision. And once you taste that kind of freedom, you'll never want to go back. Because now, your life is no longer defined by how many hours you can work, but by how many lives you can touch, how many problems you can solve, and how far your ideas can travel. That's the beauty of the second level of income. It's not just about making more money. It's about creating something that works beyond you, something that keeps growing, giving, and serving long after you've stepped away. The third level of income is not just about wealth. It's about just who you've become on the journey to earning it. This is where success transforms from numbers to meaning, from income to impact. At this level, you're no longer chasing money. Your czar's attracting it through the person you've grown into. You've gone beyond the stage of working for income and even beyond building systems that generate it. You've reached the stage where your philosophy, your influence, and your legacy create value. This is what Jim Rohn called the philosophical or spiritual level of wealth. It's not about what you do anymore, it's about who you are. At this level, you begin to see that money was never the real goal. It was only the tool. You've learned that true wealth isn't measured in your bank balance, but in your ability to live freely, give generously, and inspire deeply. You've moved from the world of survival to significance. Your mindset, habits, and character have evolved to such a degree that success naturally flows into your life because you've become a magnet for it. You no longer need to prove your worth, you embody it. The work you do carries energy, purpose, and integrity, and that's what attracts prosperity on every level, financial, emotional, and spiritual. At this stage, the pursuit of money turns into the pursuit of meaning. You no longer wake up asking, how much can I earn today? But rather, how much difference can I make today? You've discovered that the greatest joy doesn't come from accumulation. It comes from contribution. You realize that every dollar you earn is not just currency, but testimony, evidence that you've served, solved, and uplifted someone else's life. That's when you start to feel a deeper fulfillment, a sense that your work has become part of something larger than yourself. But reaching this level requires a profound shift in mindset. Most people never make it here because they stop after achieving comfort. They earn enough, build enough, and then settle. But true success is not found in comfort. It's found in continued growth. The people who reach this third level keep learning, keep giving, keep expanding. They understand that growth doesn't end when your bank account fills up. It ends when your curiosity dries up. They live by a principle Jim Rohn often taught. The major value in life is not what you get. The major value in life is what you become. At this level, success becomes internal. You operate by a philosophy, a code that shapes every decision, every relationship, every opportunity. You've learned that wealth without wisdom is fleeting, but wealth built on purpose is eternal. You begin to measure success differently. It's no longer about how many cars you own or how many followers you have. It's about how much peace you feel, how much good you've done, and how many people you've helped rise. You realize that as legacy is the ultimate income. It's the ripple effect of your character and contribution that continues long after you're gone. The third level is where leadership takes on a new form. You lead not just through power or position, but through example. People watch how you live, how you treat others, how you handle success. You've learned that money amplifies who you already are. It doesn't change you, it exposes you. If you're generous, it makes you more generous. If you're selfish, it magnifies that too. That's why at this level, character is everything. You understand that the real purpose of earning well is to live well and to help others do the same. You also begin to experience a new kind of freedom. You no longer feel chained by fear or scarcity. You trust that the more you give, the more life gives back. You operate from abundance, not anxiety. You don't chase opportunities anymore. They chase you because people are drawn to authenticity, reliability, and excellence. You've built a reputation that speaks louder than any marketing campaign ever could. The world sees you as someone who adds value wherever you go, and in return, it rewards you with trust, opportunities, and influence. At this point, your time becomes sacred. You no longer fill your schedule with noise. You fill it with purpose. You spend more time mentoring others, building communities, supporting causes, and sharing your knowledge. You understand that the true joy of success is helping others experience it too. You see young dreamers and remember when you were one of them, hungry, uncertain, but full of fire. Now, you get to be the spark that lights their path. That's real wealth, to have the power to inspire others to rise. And the beauty of this stage is that it's not about perfection. It's about alignment. Your values, your work, your relationships, your contribution. They all flow in the same direction. You're not torn between what you love and what you do. You've found a way to merge passion with purpose, profit with principle, ambition with gratitude. That's when life starts to feel effortless. Not because it's easy, but because it's meaningful. You wake up every day with clarity, energy, and peace, knowing that what you're building matters. The third level of income is the reward of every lesson learned along the way. The discipline of the first level, the strategy of the second, and the wisdom of both combined. It's a place of harmony where success feels whole. You've become the kind of person who can be trusted with abundance because you no longer chase it for ego. You attract it through service. You've become someone who understands that the goal was never money. It was mastery. The goal was never comfort. It was contribution. The goal was never more things. It was more Azar's meaning. And once you reach that understanding, life transforms. You stop counting your income and start counting your impact. You stop measuring your worth by possessions and start measuring it by the lives you've touched. You realize that this feeling of purpose, peace, and power is the highest level of wealth there is. Because when you reach this stage, you don't just make a living, you make a difference. And that is the richest life anyone can live. You see, success is not a mystery. It's a series of levels that anyone, yes, anyone, can climb. But the truth is, most never do, not because they can't, but because they stop believing they can. They quit too early. They settle too soon. They trade their potential for comfort. But tonight, I want you to remember something deep within your soul. You were not designed for averaging. You were not born to blend in. You were born to rise, to build, to lead, to leave your mark. You have greatness sitting quietly inside you, waiting for the moment you decide to act. And when you decide, when you say, enough is enough, I'm done living small, that's the moment your entire life begins to change. Imagine waking up tomorrow with fire in your chest and clarity in your mind. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing not what you are, but what you're capable of becoming. Because that version of you, the one who reads when others scroll, who works when others sleep, who believes when others doubt, that version of you can build empires. That version can rewrite your story, your family's story, and even the stories of people you'll never meet. That's the power you hold. It's not out there in the world, it's in you. It's been there all along, waiting for you to believe it, to claim it, to use it. You see, success doesn't come to the lucky. It comes to the agir intentionals. It comes to those who dare to do the work no one's watching. It comes to those who sharpen their skills in silence, who practice discipline when no one's clapping. It comes to those who build value before they ever ask for rewards. So if your results aren't there yet, don't curse the seed. Keep watering it. Every book you read, every hour you dedicate, every late night you push through, it's all building something you can't see yet. But one day, the world will see it, and they'll call it success. You'll know it was consistency. And when that day comes, when the money starts flowing, when the respect starts showing, when people begin to ask, how did you do it? Remember to smile, because you'll know it wasn't a miracle. It was your decisions. It was your refusal to quit. It was every morning you woke up tired but kept going. Every time you doubted yourself but spoke faith instead of fear. Every time you chose growth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, and discipline over distraction. That's the real story of success. The quiet battles no one sees, the invisible victories that shape your destiny. And let me tell you something. This journey is not just about money. Because once you earn enough to live comfortably, the question changes. It's no longer, how can I make more? It becomes, how can I be more? How can I give more? How can I lift others as I rise? That's the beauty of the third level, the stage where wealth becomes wisdom, where success becomes service. That's where you find the deepest joy, because success without purpose feels empty. But success used to bless others. That's fulfillment. That's legacy. Maybe right now you're standing at the beginning. You're trying to figure out where to start, and it feels overwhelming. But remember this, you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to take the first step. The first level begins the day you decide to work harder on yourself than you ever have before. The day you choose to grow, to learn, to change. Every powerful tree started as a small seed that refused to stay buried. You might be underground right now, studying, grinding, failing, rebuilding. But trust me, the roots are forming. The storm you're in is shaping your strength. The struggle you face is forming your foundation. Keep going, because your season is coming. And when you move to that second level, you'll start to understand the real magic. Leverage. You'll stop saying, I can't, and start asking, how can I? You'll stop trading hours and start trading ideas. You'll build something that works even when you rest. You'll finally taste what freedom feels like. And when you do, don't get comfortable. Don't settle, because there's a higher level still. The level where you stop chasing success and start becoming it. At that third level, you'll look around and realize you've built something more than a business, more than a brand, more than a bank account. You've built Adar's lives, a life that matters, a life that inspires. You'll understand that the goal was never just to make a living, but to make a difference. You'll understand that money is temporary, but impact is eternal. And when that day comes, when you look back at the path you've walked, you won't just see the income you earned, you'll see the person you became. So wherever you are right now, promise yourself this: you will not stop until you reach your potential. You will not stop until your work, your words, and your worth align. You will not stop until you've built a life that makes you proud to wake up every morning. Because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. You owe it to the world that needs what only you can give. The future belongs to those who create it. The next chapter of your life is waiting, and the pen is already in your hand. So write something worth reading. Build something worth remembering. Live in such a way that when people mention your name, they say, because of them, I didn't give up. That's success. That's power. That's legacy. Now go out there and decide to rise, decide to grow, decide to become everything you were meant to be. Because the world doesn't need more people just getting by. It needs people who are on fire with purpose. Be one of them. Stand tall. Take the next step. Work on yourself. Create your systems. Build your wealth, and most of all, become the kind of person success can't ignore. Because when you do, success won't just find you. It will follow you. Every single day, in every single way, until you become a living example of what's possible when a human being refuses to quit on their potential.